All right, time to talk about integration formulas and the net change theorem. And so we'll talk about some integration rules. And the heart and soul of this will be the distance and displacement. And then I'll review even and odd functions with you. Okay, so let's go over some basic integration stuff and then do a cool problem. So I'm going to show you 6 different problems here. I'm going to encourage you to hit pause right now and then pick up, and we will go over 3 of them. All right, let's go over 3 of them for you. So I'm going to go over 3. So the first one I'm going to do is this one here. And I'm going to do this one here. This says big F equals 3 times 1 over x, take the integral, plus 3x to the 1/2. Again, we're going to integrate that. Plus x to the 1/3, and we're going to integrate that, but it's down in the denominator, so it's negative, plus 3, and we're going to do it all with respect to x. So I get that big F of x equals 3 ln absolute value of x, plus 3x to the 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2 over 3/2, plus x to the negative 1/3 plus 1 is 2/3 over 2/3, plus 3x, and then plus c because we're integrating. Now I'm going to go back and simplify. F of x equals 3 ln absolute value of x, plus multiplying by the reciprocal, that's going to be 2 over 3. So I'm going to get, the 3's will cancel now, 2x to the 3/2, plus, again, multiplying by the reciprocal, that's going to be 3 over 2, x to the 2/3, plus 3x, plus c. And this is called an indefinite integral, right? And since it's an indefinite integral, and the reason I know that is there's no numbers here, we're going to have this c. Let's contrast that with this problem here. This is a definite integral. The reason why this is a definite integral is that I have these numbers here. So this is a definite integral. And what you're finding now, you're going to find some area under the curve, right? So the answer is going to generally be some value or some number. So let's do it. I am going to do it. First thing I need to do is I need to figure out what big F is. And big F is the integral of 1/5 plus 1/5 times 1 over x dx, which gives me 1/5 x plus 1/5 ln absolute value of x. I will put the plus c there for that indefinite integral, but now we're going to come down and we're going to say the integral from -3 to 3 of 1/5 plus 1/5 x dx is going to be equal to big F of 3 minus big F of -3. Well, what's that going to be? Well, big F of 3, that's going to be, I'm going to actually just write it here. It's going to be 1/5 times 3 plus 1/5 ln absolute value of 3 is 3. That is the first one. That is this guy here. Now we're going to repeat with the negative. So we're going to have 1/5. We'll put the -3 plus 1/5. ln absolute value of -3 is going to again be 3. Remember, we're subtracting. I'm going to use a dotted line. That is the second one. Now we're just going to use our math skills, right? Ln of 3 minus ln of 3. These are going to cancel because they're the same. So, and then I'm going to get 3/5 plus 3/5. So the answer is 6/5. So that was a definite integral. All right, let me do the last style. The last style is like number 6. I'm going to do number 6 so I can do some trig. In number 6, we have this indefinite integral, but we have a value. And so what happens here is we need to find c. So let me do the example. So big F of x is equal to the integral of 3 minus sine x dx. Well, that's going to be 3x. And then I'm just going to quickly remind you, I'm integrating negative sign. So I come up here. This is negative sign right here. So I'm going to get plus cosine of x plus c. Excuse me. So now what do we know? We know that when x is 0, the value is 10. Well, 10 is equal to 0 plus cosine of 0 is 1 plus c. So we get that c is equal to 9. Now, interesting here that c was not 10, even though that was f of 0, right? Got to be careful there. Don't just assume. So what do we have? Big F of x equals 3x plus cosine x. And then instead of putting the c, we're going to put the 9. All right, moving on. We have 3 examples, okay? Yes. So I'm going to do a couple, yes? I'm going to just do number 2. So I'm going to do number 2, an icosahedron. Well, I'll start with number 1. So number 1, it says, write an integral that quantifies the change in area of a square when the side length doubles from s to 2s, and evaluate the integral. So now let's think about that. Yes? So we're talking about the area of a square, yes, and we want to double the length. So we'd like to use an integral. So I know my integral is going to go from s to 2s. But I want to think about this. When I increase something, yes, I'm going to put dx here. When I have this function here, it needs to be a rate function. So I need to have a prime. So I need to know a prime of s. And a prime is 2s. Said another way, the area is equal to the integral of the derivative, right? Because we're doing the integral of the rate. So I'm going to have that my area function, yeah? Put some arrows here. Is the integral from s to 2s, and I'm going to put 2x here, dx. And the reason why I changed to the letter x is because I can't integrate with respect to s because that's my sides value, right? So we want to switch it up. It's kind of like something we'll do soon with the u substitution, okay? So now we're going to integrate, right? So what does that lead me to? I'm going to come up over here. Yeah, so I guess I didn't need this right there. And that tells me that my area is equal to, I'm going to integrate, I'm going to get x squared, yes, right, over 2. Evaluated at 2s and s. Is that okay? Yep. Now we're going to plug in. So area is going to be changing by, we're going to have 2s squared over 2 minus s squared over 2. That's going to give me 4s squared over 2 minus s squared over 2, or we get 3s squared over 2. Okay? And so that is how fast, how much the area changes when we double from 2 to 4. I'm just double checking because I feel like I did some arithmetic wrong somewhere. Well, we'll see. If you see an arithmetic mistake, let me know, but I just feel like the arithmetic's off. Okay, let's do the next one, which is the Platonic solid. It's going to be a very similar idea, okay? So we have an icosahedron, which is a Platonic solid. Let me show you what the Platonic solids are. It's more exciting for me. So Platonic solid, I did use Wikipedia, but I really just, this is such a great picture with the facts. So there's the tetrahedron, okay? So you can see the tetrahedron there. It is a four-sided object. Everything is triangles. There's the cube. I'm not clicking on that animation. Here's an octahedron. This is two pyramids stacked on top of each other. Then we're going to do the dodecahedron, or no, we're going to do the icosahedron. So here's a dodecahedron. It's a bunch of pentagons together. Okay, 12 pentagons. And then we'll be doing the icosahedron. So this is the icosahedron. You can see it there. It's a bunch of triangles. All right. So let's go back to increasing the surface area. So this time is a little different because we're not going to do area. We're going to do surface area. So first I have come up with my surface area formula. Well, my surface area formula, right? What's my surface area going to be? It's going to be 20 times the area of each triangle. Yes? Do we agree? Hope you agree. Okay, and I'll make this a little red dot. So I can do whatever I want to do, and then when I'm done, just multiply everything by 20. Yes? Or I could leave the 20 in there. So now let's talk about the area of these triangles. Well, what do these triangles look like? Well, the base of my triangle is going to be A. And since they're isosceles, then, oops. This is A and this is A. But what I really need to know is this height. Right? So now you might remember that this is a 60-degree angle. So now from our facts about triangles, right? We have a triangle. This is A. I cut this bottom in half, so we have 1/2 A. I feel vaguely like I might know this triangle. And sure enough, yes, if you use the Pythagorean theorem, this is the square root of 3/2 times A. So my surface area is essentially going to be equal to 20 times 1/2 times the base, which is 1/2 A, times the height, which is the square root of 3/2 A. Yeah? So we get 20 times square root of 3/8 A squared. Now, if I want to find the change, if I want to find how much it's changing, okay, or the increase, yes, and I'm actually going to change to a new color just to help you out, hopefully. The increase will be, if I go from A to 2A, I'm going to want this, not the surface area, but I'm going to want surface area prime with respect to some variable, which I will call X. Yes? Because we know that we have to increase the rate function, yeah? Okay, so that's going to be, and I'm going to leave this 20 out in front because I don't have to incorporate it into, yes, it's just this part here that I need to have in front. Because once I know how much 1 it does, I just multiply by 20, right? So what's that going to be equal to? Well, I could, in theory, take the derivative. I will do it for you. And get 2 cube roots over 4 of A, D, and I'm going to actually can't put A here. I'm going to put X and put dx. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to go 20, and then I'm going to integrate my formula. Oops, I need the 8 here. If I integrate my formula, that's going to give me x squared over 2. And I'm going to have 2 square roots of 3/8. So it is exactly kind of what you would intuitively think, which is I could just figure out how much one of them changes by changing from a to a squared and then subtract, all right? And then I would know, yes? Okay? So we're going to do that evaluated at a squared and a. So let's do that. We're going to get 20. And then let's put the 20. We're going to put in the a. I did cancel these 2's for you now. So we're going to get the square root of 3 times a squared. Or it's not a squared. I'm so sorry. It should be 2a here. Yeah. I don't know why I put 2a, a squared, because I saw the squareds. So if I put in 2a, I'm going to get 4a squared, and that's all going to be over 8, minus, and we're going to have square root of 3, and again, I'm going to put in an a, so that's going to give me a squared, and again, that's all going to be over 8. Now, I do want to point out that they have this in common. So really, I can just subtract the a squared parts. So I'm going to get 3. So what I'm going to get is, I'm going to write it over here, is 20 times, it's going to be the square root of 3 over 8 times 4a squared minus a squared is 3a squared. And so I end up with the increase or the change in surface area is equal to 20 divided by 8. That's going to give me, divided by 4 will be 2. It's going to be a 5. So I'm going to have 15 square root of 3 over 2, a squared. Weird number, but that's what it is, okay? There's one more here. We're going to talk about changing a cube. Very, very similar problem, okay? Enjoy.